Hello, my dear friends. You can see the 40 to 50 canva, which we will prime with construction purpose, moisture-resistant acrylic paint. We prime the entire canva once with this paint. The procedure is familiar to everyone, so you should not get stuck on it for a very long time. But we should talk about the color. Note the color I use on my palette. There are no shades of blue here. Yes, the picture will be created in the warm colors with a touch of yellow, brown, ochre and a small amount of green. I decided not to use blue shades because sometimes, if used incorrectly, they can give the look of being a little dirty in acrylic painting, especially if we go watery with a cold shade, diluting it with water. Then after drying, it darkens even more and gives a dirty tint to our picture. To work with clean, bright shades in a picture is especially pleasant, so we should set it for ourselves, and it will be consistently fulfilling. So how we do it? The first thing we do when creating this painting of flowers is composing this abstract background. Already here, you need to abandon the usual use of your skills. We do not just paint from top to bottom, making smooth transitions from one color to another, but preciously in a stroke structure where one stroke is fused into another. In the beginning, we prime with the first color layer and then with the palette knife, dipping it in white waterproof paint, then in other shades of color. We begin to improve this abstract trait of the surface. This is what gives the whole work a certain picturesqueness and artistry. See how I paint a pot in which the flowers will stand. This is done by pressing down a surface by a palette knife with a small amount of paint on it. How to imagine the image you are creating? Well, this association I found for myself. Imagine that the artist laid out a realistic image from scraps of paper. At the same time, he did not glue small pieces of colored paper. He just laid these pieces on the surface. Maybe it's cardboard or just colored paper. Tore off a piece and placed to the right position. As a result, he got very realistic image, almost like a photograph. But suddenly the wind blew and all these pieces of paper scattered over the surface. In this way, I am trying to create this work of art, this picture. And when you so figuratively understand what your decision to paint a picture is based on, your actions are subject to your mental attitude, and therefore the picture is gradually taking shape. For the last video, many people commented that this painting technique is available only to professional artists. In part, I can agree, but isn't it important to see the process of creating an artist's painting? You can repeatedly look at reproductions of paintings and only somehow conclusively understand how this is done. But seeing the whole process from start to finish is important for your own development. You may not be able to do this right now, but you already know and understand what you need to strive for, and one day, maybe against of some kind of pictorial fatigue, when your rational thinking will fall asleep, suddenly the hand will fly and begin to do spontaneous actions such as those shown on this video. And the whole process of creating a picture will develop exactly like that. Although I would suggest you don't put off trying to create such a picture. After all the actions are visible and understandable. Just allow yourself to do it. And try today to put in front of you, if not 40 to 50 canva, but at least 30 to 40, and create something similar. I repeat once again that it will be difficult for you to spoil this work, because we do not use cold shades here. We use here an ordinary, moisture-resistant acrylic, not using any specific facilities. In many works with a palette knife, I use thick acrylic paint, not the one from the hardware stores, just artistic, thick paint that does not spread over the surface. Here is a regular paint that we can use. Of course, this rounded palette knife gives me a few points, such a nice bonus. It would be a bit more difficult to create such flying flower petals with a pointed palette knife. Or here I decided to pour a portion of paint directly onto the palette, so that the palette knife takes on its surface a little more, and pressing it to the surface, it leaves marks better. It is not worth pouring this paint onto the surface and making pasting strokes. It is not an acrylic paint, and in a large volume it can crack, which, by the way, can be used somehow in our works. After all, it can turn out not to be educational, but quite professional. Be ready for that. I repeat once again that in such work it is important to let go of ourselves a little, not need to try to create a perfect work. Here is an exercise for the perfectionists. If you succeed, then this will be such a big step to relax and just let yourself to tinker with the paint. Most likely, in addition to the imagination of your future work, this could be one more desire for you. Just tinker with the colors, creating an image that is understandable to the viewer. If you wish to learn some other techniques for creating flower bouquets, then you can follow the link in the description of this video and get acquainted with the course Flower Extravaganza. We do interesting interior work there that greatly expands your creative skills. Well, you can see I did not manage my art without thick paint. This is artistic paint Tair, which I put on the surface and make some of the petals more voluminous. It is optional to use it in this work. By the way, note, you can rewind the video, that at many stages of work, the picture looks spectacular and interesting. At any stage of work, you can complete this picture and it will look decorative, just like colored spots that can decorate the interior wall. I would say that this picture would be suitable for a bedroom. Once again, I repeat that if you do not have thick paint, then this is not obligatory element in this picture. It has even somehow changed and it has become rougher. The lightness is gone. Therefore, you can limit yourself on the elements that were shown in this video earlier, before I started to apply thick strokes. But Every job is an experiment. Of course, if I will start to create next picture by analog now, I may have done it a bit differently. And now I have a thin brush in my hands, which helps to create such graphic elements on the surface. Yes, light flying painting is combined with some graphic elements. This gives a special reading of this slightly abstract picture. I paint brown lines and then paint some white strokes on this thin brush. These decorative elements also have such a meaning as they add more of flying moments to our image. It is like confetti flying over this bouquet, which in turn gives a sense of celebration and movement to this bouquet. Well, today such a picture was created. I repeat once again that you can continue your studies in the paid course Flower Extravaganza. The link will be in the description of this video. Many who took this course really got new skills and created the perhaps first interior flower paintings. I want to say thank you for being on my channel, watching the video and leaving your comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and I wish you all the creativity. Goodbye, my friends.